have a few concerns that I'd like to discuss with the county council and the city, please. I don't know if we need to put this into the MOU, but I feel like we need to put it into our annexation policy plan, and it relates to the MOU. It's saying in our annexation policy plan that, of course, Heber City will take care of the streets and the water and the sewer of our infrastructure, but I'd also like us to consider adding that we would not take care of JSSD or NDSSD infrastructure. Now, are you guys okay with that? Because it would be the district's infrastructure that you would maintain, right?
Doesn't it refer to that in the MOU somewhere?
I don't think it's in the MOU.
Well, it is, you are correct, Heidi. Within our annexation policy plan on page 19, I did add the suggestions, everyone that you would have in your email.
I appreciate that, but I'm just trying to make sure that they're good with it, or Ron's good with that.
That's what we do with the county right now. The SSD, all the SSDs take care of their own infrastructure.
4C, I think, refers to that in the MOU. North Village, SSD, Twin Creek, SSD, Journell, agree to provide all water, secondary water, and sewer service within the respective service areas, unless those districts and Heber City mutually agree at the time of development these services should be provided.
Okay,
So I think that statement that unless the Heber City agrees and the SSD agrees, they'll maintain it. Wouldn't you read it that way, Ron?
Yeah, and I think what I hear is Heidi's suggesting it goes a step further that the districts will maintain the infrastructure as well as provide services. I mean, provided services could entail that same thing, but
So maybe that additional language needs put in, is that what you're
it's
saying?
fine.
So maybe agree to provide also and maintain.
Right.
Provide and maintain, just those two words.
And then in our annexation agreement on page 22, I wanted to add in that when developers build water and sewer, that they would dedicate those lands to the special service districts.
That's in
Not
our
to the city,
requirements.
but to you, right? So
That's
I'm
in
just
our
trying to make it
requirements.
plain.
They have to be built to the specs of the special services.
She's talking about putting that in their annexation.
In our
policy.
annexation
Okay.
Which
policy.
gives it even more teeth.
Yeah, that's good.
Right, okay.
Both of those last two lines.
And then here comes the next thing, it's brand new, and it's something you need to think about, but it always just depends, right? It just depends on the annexations that could happen once these lines are drawn. But as the annexations happen, is it possible for the city to get representation on the North Village and the JSSD governing boards, depending on perhaps the amount of acreage, right, that gets annexed into the city that has to do with your special service districts? Why? Because then we can have greater collaboration for citizens' needs. But it would only happen dependent on how much acreage came in to the city within those special service districts. What's the county think about that?
So just to lay out how it works in SSD. So by statute, we're the governing board because we're creating the entity. We can create a separate governing board or an advisory board. But so, and we could potentially have any members on it that we choose. And that would be, that board is basically, it has whatever power the governing board gives it, other than increasing taxes.
Right, that would come back to you.
It comes back to the council.
Well, that would be rates.
But they would still be advisory boards that would have to come back through the council, which is the governing board.
Well,
Or we could create administrative control.
Right.
And that would make it a separate entity, but they still have to come to council for taxing a building and bonding a building.
we're just trying to provide the best service we can and
And that
responsiveness
would
to
probably be
citizens.
the best way to go, administrative control board and have the people that's using the service and be the representatives on that.
Yeah, we can definitely, I think we can work that out.
Okay. Well, again, it's not anything, I don't know how we put that into an MOU. Maybe we could just say that, you know, as land is annexed into the city,
Heber City would
That-
have representation
yeah, that we can,
somehow with people.
we'll work out representation for the city to be on the governing special service district
Yeah.
boards.
That sounds good.
We can create it.
Thank you. Thank you very much for considering that. Is that possible to put in under mutual responsibilities under C, make a new C under mutual responsibilities on page 4?
Is that what
do a new C that
That's under
as,
6, right?
you know, as land within the SSDs is annexed into the city, county and city will work to provide city representation on SSD boards per
Give us some language
acreage,
to look at.
you know, per acreage, per ERUs, projected ERUs maybe, right? Because you know what the projected ERUs that you're going to be servicing there. So we could either do it by acreage or we could do it by ERUs.
Well, the ERUs won't change if they come to the city. You commit
That's the
to
plan
that.
right now. That's what we've adopted the ordinances for. But again, you know, there's various types of ERUs. It's not just acreage, right?
Right.
There's higher density down by the highway versus up on the ridge. So maybe we should do it by ERUs.
So I think what we can do is we can come up with some language that accommodates that. We'll create whatever the right mechanism is, administrative control board, and have
We greatly
I think
appreciate
that's
that.
okay. And whatever triggers we decide to do, then we can agree on that. So do you want to work with Tony, post some language to us, and
Sure.
then we can go back and forth on that a little bit?
Right, I mean, maybe we could say something like within a year of annexation. So we have a timeline, right, that we know within the year when a certain amount of ERUs or acreage comes in, that we'll work with you within that year to get the representation. It certainly can't be immediate. How's that sound?
Or you could just trust the city representative and county council.
You're going to let Ron start voting? Oh, you mean the city representative? Okay.
No, it's all right. I think it's fine.
Well, we just.
You're not going to want to deal with
together.
all the other SSD issues.
Right, I mean, it's like
fine.
when something happens, right, you know the scenario is going to happen in the future when people will show up here in annexed areas and say, fix this. And we'll say, go to the SSD, right? And unless we have that collaboration, we don't need to build a wall.
I think it's a good idea. I think we can.
It was suggested by our city manager, everyone, and I really appreciate this suggestion. Okay, so now how about another idea here?
You've already had two.
Oh, come on. Okay, there's a part in our annexation policy plan that you might be interested in. Another part, it's on page 24, talks about the revenues that the city would get for new, and this isn't in, yes, it's on page 24 of our annexation policy plan. It's
The one we got tonight,
last paragraph, that's fourth sentence, is saying the revenue streams that the city will potentially get with future annexations. We are adding in this exaction or related fees based on rough proportionality, but I'm wondering if the county is interested in any exaction fees based on any proportionality to cost that you see you need depending on annexations, because you did receive fees from Red Ledges when they came into the city. So do you have any ideas about those kinds of exaction fees, or do you want any finessing of this language to include you in these revenue streams in this part?
No, I think that was a bad decision by the county.
for what, to take us through that amendment?
Yeah.
I'm just trying to see where you're coming from.
I just wanted to,
Okay.
I think we got
Something to talk about.
I can hear something about Jenny on that.
She wants to agree.
Quite a few fees as it is, when you look at it. And then if it's going affordable housing fees, then it's actually like, it doesn't matter, it just makes it very difficult to do. What would you exact on the developer?
I know what the city would need to exact, but I didn't know if the county had any
What
sort of
would
nexus
exact?
or proportionality fees there.
What's your exaction related fees?
Well, it's relating to staffing or, building space for new staff to handle new services that would be required up there. That's what I'm just thinking of generally. Obviously, we need police and so forth.
See an increase.
Wouldn't it?
Some things we'll need up front.
No, the only thing that comes to
I'm
mind,
sorry.
We don't have an impact fee for police.
Right.
the only thing that would come to mind, Heidi, is like with Sorensen, if they did that development there and that little old road stayed in the county, and we had to improve it,
For secondary fire access, right?
or for secondary access, we'd expect them to pay some of that cost.
Okay, and definitely, everyone can see the logic of that. So is there something you'd like us to put in there just so that we know to approach you in the future?
Would we capture that through our impact fees? Is there a way we would capture that?
We need to talk about it, decide what to have put in there.
Yeah, I mean, we've got to make it special, I mean, to accommodate their development if it's going to impact the county.
Well, all I have to do, all we have to do on page 24 is not just say city, we say city and county
We
costs.
could probably, that would probably cover it, and that way it would leave a hook if we had to.
And so, do we put that into the MOU somewhere so we know to contact you with these annexations and see if you feel like there's, you know, related costs? So,
You could put that under your city responsibility, though, so.
okay, hang on, actually didn't finish writing this other one.
I'm just trying to wrap my head around that one. You know, if the developers develop, you're going to put in all the infrastructure, pay for all the water, put in the streets, roads, everything, pay for all the impact fees, property taxes, sales taxes, utility hookup fees, and all this other stuff. What is there left? You're talking about maybe you need a new administration building and you want a developer to pay for that? Is that kind of what you're talking about?
No, there has to be allowances. There has
Well,
to
you
be.
already built it all.
Line up, Mike.
And you give it to the city or to the county or to the SSD, the water system, the sewer system, it's all paid and bought for by the developer. And it's given to all these different entities, so I'm just trying to think, what would you exact out of them? Say maybe a new building.
Well, land for affordable housing.
Okay, so when that would fall under the affordable housing section.
You say beyond what we've already covered, you're asking.
Well, it'd be part of the affordable housing plan.
Right. That would come under that section. And donations for schools.
That leads me to my last point. Thank you very much.
I've
Unless
got,
we have any more here.
I got two others, and I don't know whether they need to go in the development, or the MOU, or the development agreement, but a couple of concerns. Just left the two-day conference with Heber Light and Power. We did discuss this up there, but the franchise agreement that was worked out several years ago through much effort with Rocky Mountain Power and Heber Light and Power was that Heber Light and Power will have to take on any infrastructure within Heber City.
Within the annexations.
Well, within Heber City, which means if you annex, you're going to have to buy back all of that infrastructure that Rocky Mountain Power has put in North Village, and
That's
because North Village is in Rocky Mountain Power service area because it's out of the franchise area, because it's outside of city limits. But you put it in, you annex in, and you bring that into city limits. You've got a bill that it's going to have to be paid.
And that's on page 25 of the annexation policy
So
plan.
you've got that in there. Okay.
Question on that.
That was for the.
How come we generally have very well-defined service territories? Are you suggesting that those territories are going to be mandated based upon the occupation of the city?
Well, I would think so. I mean, we spent quite a bit of time, it was probably, through a great deal of effort through Rocky Mountain Power to get that put together, and the county was involved because it impacted some of the county property. And so you have to amend, and I think that service agreement or agreement says that Heber Light Power will service and maintain everything within Heber City boundaries, which would mean you'd have to change that service agreement, or that service territory.
So just a question, because I'm the new guy, I don't understand this.
Yeah,
Generally, power companies are very protective of their service territory. But you're saying that Rocky Mountain Power would be willing to give up some of their service territory as it's annexed into the city?
probably what we ought to do is get you and me and, well, whatever, with Jason of Heber Light Power, and so you'd understand that better. But I know we've talked about that several times. I think he's been here and explained that to Heber City. It would have been prior to your coming on board, but
See, anything in Heber City, Midway, or Charleston is automatically in the service area of Heber Light and Power.
and then the county agreed to the rest of the Valley Floor, basically, except. Anyway, it's something that needs to be looked at. Maybe give
Well,
Jason.
and can I just clarify too, because I'm reading, Kendall, you said that and maybe it's clear on page 25, at least the city's plan is that the city's not going to pay that the party seeking annexation shall pay HLP for its costs of acquiring the other providers. And two, that these costs not be borne, this was from Heidi, not be borne by Heber City and its residents or by HLP and its customers.
You're in that fifth paragraph down
Right.
on page 25?
Right. So I appreciate bringing it up because you had said or something like, hey, Heber City's going to have a bill there when we annex out. We were thinking the same thing you were, and I think that's why that paragraph 5.
So you're suggesting that it's the Heber Light Power bill?
No, it would,
No.
it's probably whoever requested the annexation.
Possibly.
Right. And it relates back into that thought, you know.
Yeah, it's something that needs to be looked at.
Sure. And that's what I'm saying. I appreciate bringing it up because it shows the confluence about the very issue you're bringing up. I think Heidi and Tony have tried to do it, but however you can help us,
Yeah.
that would be helpful.
Well, maybe we need to work with Heber Light Power on it,
Yeah.
make sure it's done correctly there. Then the last one is, you could upset an awful lot of people. The Sorensen property has a CWMU unit on it. And by state code or whatever, CMWs cannot be inside the city boundaries. So it's
What is a CMW?
hunting unit.
Property.
They've dedicated the property to allow a certain number of hunters
Reserve.
on their property.
Okay.
You have to, anyway. And if Heber were to annex that in, that CWMU would disappear and you wouldn't have some happy.
Yeah, there's provisional language that indicates that
They carry guns.
anything that's in conflict or that is illegal is parceled out, pruned out. So if that were the case, that's the first I've heard of that acronym.
Well, it's illegal for that to be in a city, so if you annexed it, it would disappear
Yeah.
and it would be an issue.
We looked at that.
Well, it's eventually going to disappear anyway, though, isn't it?
They carry guns. I don't know.
I would presume so with 10,000.
Well, they might choose to pull it out, the property owner might choose to pull it out.
Yeah.
But if they annex into the city, they have to pull it out.
You know, we talked about the special service district being responsible for their infrastructure
Yes.
and Heber City being responsible for their, do you ever see a need? I think there's a need to connect the two for redundancy and emergency.
Yes. Yes.
How do we address that?
Oh,
You do it a plan, I think you have to worry about the MOU. You do where it makes sense. You know, this area.
Master plan.
That's something that we do in the future together.
Yes.
well, should we just put in the idea, though, that county and city will work together to provide,
With optimization of the system.
redundancy or efficiencies of the system?
We can, I just don't think anybody's opposed to it, so I don't know that we can anticipate this sort of thing. I don't think anybody would have a problem with it if we wanted
Do you
to.
see a problem with that, Ron?
Well, is this SSD willing to provide that kind of redundancy themselves, though? Is that already in their plan?
We have a certain amount of internal redundancy, but probably not enough to solve all the problems.
Okay.
If we had a major change.
Maybe Ron could think about what he thinks the needs are there, given the plans that you have right now, and then definitely work with Bart, right, to say maybe at this point, or we need a valve, right? A valve that can be turned one way or the other in case of emergencies or fire protection, or whatever it is. I mean, Ron, do you think that that's something you could develop with Bart?
Over time.
Right.
We could plant a seed, like something to the effect of discuss the benefits of regional redundancy between the city and SSEs.
Where would you suggest to put it, Tony?
Probably on the mutual responsibilities.
Okay.
Is that SD?
So that would be D. But let's put a timeline here. What kind of timeline would you be comfortable with?
I think it depends on the annexation, so we can't predict what the state's going to annex it.
You just preserving the idea, like Heidi said. You're preserving the idea to do it when and if the need arises. And then you open a conduit. That's how she started the comment.
Yeah, it can be competitive. But I do feel like this is Groundhog Day. We've sat in this room so many times.
Can I just do one more
One
thing?
more? Okay.
Okay. Does the county know, and I'm sorry Doug Smith isn't here, but does the county know if any of the institutional land in the North Village has already been agreed to and taken by any development agreements or any entities? The institutional land zoning. It's right there in the middle of North Village. Has that been promised? Well, I don't know, has it been promised?
That's the college.
The whole blue area is the college? Because this leads to my next question. If schools are built, are they promised to go in that blue area? You know, an elementary school or something like that? Is a fire station promised to go in that area? Do you see what I mean?
No.
Is there going to be a fire station there now? So it's totally open land.
There's any agreements that we've already agreed to.
Right. Are there any,
Yeah.
Fire department, schools.
yeah, anything like that? Or is that land totally open to be sold by the developer to any public entity for any institutional use?
No, I think there was dedicated piece for the school.
Is
The
it all
college
of the
has
blue?
theirs.
Do you know if it's all of the blue?
There should be a land use chart that goes along with
The
that.
chart shows the
And
blue
the
area,
North
Yeah.
but how much is open
in?
in that, or how much is already given away?
We'll have to ask Doug, it sounds like, to make sure we get it right.
Because I think in that zone you could put student housing or anything to deal with
But see, then that leads to my next point, is do we need to put in here, which I thought we'd addressed, but do we need to specifically add to this that as annexations happen, not only do we come to you about exaction fees potentially, but also for county parks? And you talked about that before. County parks, county facilities.
Well, that's
See
what,
I mean?
yeah, that's what number 5C is. Involve Wasatch County in the review of annexations.
Okay, you
To
got
analyze public services such as
sorry.
regional county park facilities,
Yeah.
fire stations, sewer, water, and irrigation, elementary, middle, and high school sites. And 5 on there says consideration for other public facilities provided by each of the parties.
Okay, I'm sorry, I did not noticed that.
Okay.
I
Yeah,
just
so
like
that's
it's
really
tied
neat.
together.
Yeah.
So do we have to put in Heber like an hour here? No.
Oh, I think you don't want to handle that.
No.
Okay, and then, are you satisfied that that's all of your criteria that you would need to go through with us? Parks, fire, sewer, water, irrigation, schools or school district, but other necessary public facilities. Is there
Maybe-
anything else there?
Other, that kind of covers everything else.
We
Well,
can
yeah, but
maybe add open
specify.
space, county park facilities and open space.
Add that word to that line.
Yeah.
Okay. That was my last detail. Thank you.
Okay. So I feel like we're having Groundhog Day because we keep coming here and discussing this. So is there a date that we could know that you guys could have a version you approve of? I think our city council has approved of this existing version, and I'm sure they'll be fine with these small changes. I'm wondering if we can pinpoint a date so that we will know when we can finalize this MOU, and we don't have to look at it on one of these meetings.
You guys want to put this on the first meeting of September? You all right with that?
About the 29th.
That was gonna be just a one item.
That's what I'm hearing, that's capital.
Yeah, we don't want to get it much other stuff.
Do we want to go through this at a work meeting?
Which is making it 12. That's what I wonder.
So we wouldn't be able to approve it then until the
19th.
following.
But would that be soon enough?
I guess I feel like we've tried really hard to do what you guys wanted before we adopt our annexation policy plan, but we're ready to adopt our annexation policy plan. And hope that we don't have opposition from you in doing that, because we've tried to do everything you asked us to do, but we're kind of now waiting for you guys to be okay with
I
this.
think the safe thing though is what Ms. Farrell was saying, is to put it on for our work meeting, which is the second week of September, and then potentially we approved this third week of September.
The 19th.
Right, so I'm just saying, we probably aren't going to wait for that, even though we're fine with it. We're fine with the MOU. I don't think we're going to wait for that to vote on our annexation policy.
We'll make these changes as fast as possible, if that's
Yeah,
okay,
We'll
Tony.
do it tomorrow so the council will have them.
And so we'll look at it again on Thursday. You're welcome to come to the Thursday meeting, even though it's quite a long one. And, or review the agenda materials as soon as we can get it posted so that we can see it Because again, we can always add things in the future. But we'll try to make these changes, make them as accurate as
So September 19th is too late for you guys?
Yes.
You know, I'm kind of,
Well, I think you got some council members that aren't in as big a hurry as somebody.
I think I'm with the city on this one because there's 4 of us here out of 7. This was kind of like a work session. We've hammered out a lot of things. The other 3 just need to get on board. They've done a lot. They've been over backwards. Tony's been amazing. If you look at this, they've been trying to do every single thing we've asked them to do. And they've done a very good job of doing it, and we appreciate that. And I hate to see you get drug out any farther, so I'm ready to vote, on the 5th of September to help move along. There's 4 of us here tonight. We've hammered out every detail. I just don't want to drag it any longer than we have to and help the city, because they've been very cooperative.
We've got 3 other council members we haven't heard from on these details.
Right, I guess my concern is, I think 2 months ago, we sat here and said, okay, what do you guys think about the 5-acre thing? And you were gonna go back and let us know what you felt, and we still haven't heard about that. I think we're just concerned about, we've gone through all this, and the developers getting
You're
pressure.
talking about 5-acre thing.
Huh?
What 5-acre thing? What are we talking about?
About the Wasatch View Estates. I mean, we sat in this room, I was sitting here, and we said, okay, you guys go back and talk to your council, and we told our staffs to bring back.
I thought we
I
said-
think he said that they were ready to go, the majority of them were ready to agree to the item.
We just agreed to it. We're good.
You just agreed to it, just some, because Kendall said no, and then you guys said, I think we are. I just wasn't sure if it was a final
No, I
thing, or
think
you're
we
just
agreed.
kind of,
Look, I'll request that we put it on for the September 5th meeting, and hopefully we'll get it approved then.
okay.
We'll
Yeah, we
have
can
some
go over
work
it
here.
and approve it or not.
We'll give it a shot, and if it has to go to a work meeting, we'll try to get it done.
Well, and obviously, it's going to take months for any annexation to happen, so it doesn't mean that we couldn't continue to work on this.
True, and we can add things to it. We're not trying to say this is the last ditch effort. We're not trying to say that. We're really trying to provide a good faith effort of collaboration so this can all go as smoothly as possible and efficiently and professional as possible to serve the citizens that can live there or initially be annexed in.
All right, then we'll plan on that for that meeting. All right, do we have, oh, yes.
I have a question about the affordable housing, which was brought up a couple times tonight and kind of eschewed aside, but I think that's a big issue for Heber City. And you're saying, yeah, we're going to discuss it on Thursday, but I think I particularly would like to know, where does the council stand, Heber City Council stand right now on the affordable housing and adopting what the county already has?
Well, what happened is the county called a group together to work on it so we could do something the same as them, and they were changing it. So we were holding off to find out what came out of that group. But then in the meantime, I think it was Ron who said, let's go ahead and adopt what the county's already doing and then change it when that group comes back with their new recommendations. So that's what's on our agenda. We haven't discussed it in detail before because we were going through this process and waiting for the county. We didn't want to adopt something different from the county when that
So
was the
Tony, is
intent.
that proposed deal, the shadow of the county's current affordable housing